And now, your official TigerBait live show with Mike Scarborough and Buddy Songy starts now.
All right, everybody. Welcome in a big edition of TigerBait Live tonight. We're a week and a half away from LSU getting on the road for the big opener at Clemson. And, of course, the LSU football team began their preparation or diving into the game plan for the Clemson Tigers earlier this week. And our access changed this week. We get to see a little bit of the entire thing this upcoming Saturday night. We get Austin Thomas tomorrow night. We had BK yesterday. Only 3 periods on Monday, but it's the week where they get their legs back. And just want to get to next week with everybody healthy. Mike Scarborough with TigerBait.com. Joined by my buddy Songy.
Good to see you, Mike.
Welcome
and
in.
Hope everybody realizes it is 10 nights away. Much anticipation with the opening of the season. You know, we chop it up and we go out there and we get a feel for what we think is going to be the offensive line, the defensive line, special teams, and all that. And then we get a little bit of a curveball thrown after the scrimmage. We did not have availability. Of course, the big wigs and money people did have availability. So if you, I will say this, though, the information getting out there after this last scrimmage is minuscule compared to what it used to be. So LSU in that mode of, look, we've given you a lot of access, but zip it. We can't tell anymore because at this point it becomes a disadvantage on what Clemson knows. And you talked to some Clemson people.
Well, and by the way, you said it on your show today. And we Buddy and I talk about it all the time. The unprecedented amount of access that we get under Brian Kelly at LSU. And but there's also some disadvantages. We've had to go in after the fact and edit some practice video because my viewing angle was a little bit too wide and they wanted that gone. And they know that the Clemson coaches are watching everything that not only we put out, but other media that post their practice footage online. Good luck trying to find some practice footage of Clemson. Their media doesn't get that kind of access.
No. And Mike, the biggest difference that I don't think people realize this year is that in previous years, we get 15 or 20 minutes to shoot, and then they say bye-bye. You can come back and interview players or coach afterwards. We've been able to stay the whole duration of those practices 3 or 4 or 5 times, which gives us a better idea of the depth. And on this Wednesday, August the 20th, I am appreciably more confident that LSU is better on paper in a lot of spots this year, but there's still some weaknesses that we've got to overcome. We'll talk about that. Want to have plenty of interaction. Got a lot of man to tidbits. And let's fire it up and get ready to go. I'm kind of laid back all day, and now I come over here with you, and I'm ready to fire it up. And, yeah, I think it was Mike last week. He said, Buddy, you pick LSU every year, and you got purple and gold glasses on. Well, Mike, I got to tell you, it might be that way again. I love going up against everybody else, and so I do think that there will be a ton of people picking Clemson. But if LSU can do 3 or 4 things, I really think they got a chance to win the football game.
I said it on Buddy's show earlier today. I think this team has everything it needs to win a national championship. Tulane wants a game with LSU. I just wish LSU opened with Tulane instead of Clemson.
Yeah. Well, we talked about that today, and at some point, BK and Verge are going to have to come to a conclusion. A lot of it contingent on if the SEC goes to 9 conference games or 8. If it goes to 9 conference games, it's going to affect these opening games. But Clemson expected to come here next year, first game in September. I said this, first time ever. If they lose the game 10 nights from tonight, I think they ought to put a cupcake in week 0 because – you're talking about a new quarterback that hadn't played at LSU, unless Van Buren is your starter. You're talking about losing 5, 6, or 7 starters on defense, another 3 or 4
That's why
on
Austin
offense.
Thomas is going to be interesting tomorrow because, look, they didn't even kicked off this season. But Austin Thomas's job, believe me, he's already know what he's got to build for next year. That's what his focus is now. Not only does he have to keep this roster happy and get who you want back to come back, but he's got to have an eye for what all he's got to do in the portal, which number wise, do you think it equals what they had to do last December, or is it more? I think it's more, right?
Well, I don't know, but
if you don't get a running back in this class out of the high school ranks, you got to go to the portal and get one of those, right? You need at least one quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you'll need two.
Yeah.
Maybe you get one in December and decide after spring you need another one.
You're replacing Halsey at safety, Bernard Gooden, Jack Pyburn, Patrick Payton, probably
linebackers,
Perkins and Whit Weeks and West Weeks. I mean, so let's enjoy this run this year, and lots of tidbits, including punting, special teams, and as I was opening with, the curveball is that last week Coach Kelly was saying, look, I know what a good offensive line looks like. And when he said that, Mike, I was thinking of those big old burly, strong, 6'8", 340-pounders that he had at Notre Dame. And that was an incredible reputation. Now, as you know, they got to the final game and didn't win it, but they've not had that kind of size.
Les Miles might have had another shot at a national championship if he would have had some of BK's offensive lines that he had. And of course, if Tyrann Mathieu hadn't got booted off the team, there would have been one there.
And if he would have been so stupid with play calling.
Yep.
He couldn't help himself.
That too. All right. Fire 3449 says hit the like button. Please do that. Please share the show. We're going to go till 7 o'clock with your questions and comments. Obviously, like Buddy said, 10 days until kickoff, and football season is here. Thank goodness. All right. And Devin Johnson on board. Good evening, Tiger fans. We'll be headed to Clemson next Friday. 10 more days. Can't wait. Nuss Bus going to ride on Clemson, says music. Ryan Stadler, Mike and Buddy, always enjoy the show. Glad to have you with us, Ryan. Rob Boudreaux wants to know how everybody's balls. I guess they're shining them up, and yeah.
I hope that Nuss throws some pretty balls on the night of August 30. By the way, a little scare in case you missed it. Van Buren got his middle finger jammed in the scrimmage. We were a little worrisome because, as you know, Nuss was temporarily banged up a little bit, and that seems to have gone away. But you want to have your backup quarterback available just in case. And so I think he started throwing today. And Mike, we'll say it again. This is the knock on wood. Don't want to snake bit anything, but this is probably as healthy a team as I've ever seen. Solomon Thomas is working to come back at some point in September, but they've not lost anybody at this point for the season. And so knock on wood, if they stay healthy, and that big curveball that I was talking about never got to. Carius Kern and Weston Davis are now battling at right tackle. We all assumed that Weston Davis would be the right tackle. Tells me he gave up some sacks from some of those edge rushers in the scrimmage. So now you got Carius Kern, who was at the left side, easier to make a transition to the right side. You're not blocking the blind side. And then at left guard, DJ Chester, Cohen Eccles, and Paul Mubinga in that battle. And so BK did say we're going to play a lot of these guys. And, Mike, it might be the game 3 before you sell on the final 5 that you like. But you and I both agree it's good to get Carius Kern on the field. He's got great potential. And, of course, we know that more than likely, folks, the defense is going to have to carry this team the first couple of 3 weeks because I don't see that offensive line gelling like a fine-tuned machine just early in the season, especially when you're going up against the likes of the D-line.
Andy Whitaker Fizzbuzz comes in with a big super chat. Thank you, Andy. Of course, he's one of our top subscribers and when interacting subscribers on our Tiger Den premium message board. He says, so I went back and forth on this for a while. I'm really high on this defense, but concerned about the offensive line. I just can't pick LSU to win their opener until they do it. I got LSU 10-2 losing to Clemson and Oklahoma. Man, there's a lot of people that have Clemson and Oklahoma. In fact, I think Preston has that saying, Clemson and Oklahoma. So bookends. By the way, you go 10-2, you're in the playoffs. If you run that, I think you take that.
Yeah, I'm not ready to jump to the end of the season and say they're going to lose to Oklahoma. I think that's a stretch. Nobody really knows what Oklahoma. A lot of pressure on Brent Venables, by the way,
right
at Oklahoma. A lot of pressure on BK. Not for his job security, but everybody in the country is going to be wanting to see if he's going to start typically where you struggle with an element of special teams. You get down there in the red zone and don't make the right calls on field goals, going for it on fourth down, that kind of stuff.
There's pressure on all of them. Joe Sloan, Brad Davis, Corey Raymond,
Jake Olson.
Jake Olson.
Yeah.
Jake Olson's name never gets mentioned.
But I'm
Jake Flint.
I'm surprised. I thought FizzBuzz was going to go in. I'll tell you what I told you this today. Here's what he's thinking. I want to believe they're going to win. I want to believe they're going to stop the streak. I want to believe they're going to look like what Mike and Buddy and everybody else have been talking about talent-wise. But until they do it, I'm living in the state of Missouri. Show me. And I got a lot of people saying that. They want to believe, but they said, look, I've been tricked 5 times in a row, so I'm not jumping out the ledge, but I'll get on the bandwagon if they win. I don't know.
I've already said I'm on the bandwagon. They win the opener. I'm here in the post game saying 11-1.
Well, I was going to say, you're going to have a great post game with Preston, regardless of whether they win or not. Eyeballing that thing after 11 o'clock. Don't forget, they will simulate. I thought they went last week. The reason I asked Coach Kelly about this week at 7:30, I thought they went last week at 6:30. They went last week at 7:30 and this week at 7:30 because Eastern Standard Time, you start to get your body clock. Even though it's that far away, you want to practice today at 3:45, practice tomorrow at 3:45. So they're getting that clock. But if you go on, the game will be over there in Clemson, 7:30, 6:30 Central, 3.5 hours. We're talking about, Mike, 10 o'clock that ball game ends, Central, sometime.
Do we know when they're flying up yet?
Do
we know what day they're going up?
No, we've not heard that yet. But I know a lot of people are leaving.
They're going up Thursday.
Yeah. So
I'm assuming Friday, but I wonder if they're going Thursday.
And look, if Casper comes in tonight, in this chat tonight,
they're winning.
They're beating Clemson.
All right, Andy Whitaker, thank you so much for that.
Thank you, FizzBuzz.
Absolutely. All right. Here we go. I need to do this one.
You got a bot in there already?
No. You see it on the screen, Alumni Hall, everybody. Look, it's a place you need to go to get all your LSU gear. Beautiful store in Perkins Row. And like I always tell you, use the code TigerBait, all one word, to get 10% off. They've got all the new Nike gear, the new LSU Nikes, the Pegasus that come out every year. Champion, Johnny O, On Reserve, Peter Millar. You see all those great polos. You really need to go in the store and see them. But they've got a brand new redesigned website. So go to alumnihall.com/LSU. And as always, whether you're in the store or at checkout on your shopping cart online, use the code TigerBait, all one word, and you're going to get 10% off. You're going to get free shipping on orders over $99. And you got the Hall Pass rewards. For every $150 you spend, you'll earn a $10 reward for future purchases. And mix and match too for $50 of the LSU Champion brand T-shirts. And they've got all that stuff. It's just everything that you want with an LSU logo on it. You're not going to beat Perkins Row. And another reason why you want to do business with them is because, look, they're in the NIL space. They're giving back to the players, and they're doing it the right way. And just super people over at Alumni Hall. And but also we're here tonight because of Pride Roofing. Let's hear from Mike and Alex.
Hi, I'm Michael with Pride Roofing.
I'm Little Alex.
Have you been affected by wind, hail, and tornadoes on the North Shore? Well, we're here to help.
Insurance claim, no problem.
We also have a new franchise location in New Orleans.
We don't build projects, we build memories.
Though you know Pride Roofing is the official roofer at TigerBait.com.
In fact, notify TigerBait and we'll give you a free roof inspection. And on top of that, you get a free year subscription. Remember to call us at 855-PRIDE-16.
There it is, 855-PRIDE-16. When you call them to get your free roof inspection, say TigerBait, and they're going to pay for you to have TigerBait Premium free for a year. That's a $100 value. And again, nobody's going to beat Pride Roofing when it comes to earning your business. If you've got another company's bid on letterhead, they will beat it by $150. And again, I've known Mike Faraday and I've known Alex for many years. Mike Faraday my entire life. Great people. And anywhere in South Louisiana, if you need anything, commercial or residential roof, Pride Roofing is who you want to deal with. And by the way, I talked to Mike about an hour ago. They've got franchising available for Pride Roofing. Give them a call at that 855-PRIDE-16 number. Inquire about franchising. And they've got multiple zip codes throughout Louisiana, including Central and North Louisiana, if you would like to be a franchise of Pride Roofing.
Metal roofs are very hot. Commercial, residential, municipalities. Look, big time in Hammond, big time in Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Lafayette. And as we said, 1-855-PRIDE-16, always a free roofing inspection. But now I'm going to give you a Pride tidbit. PRIDE. You're going to have pride in the defense again at LSU. I'm predicting a goal line stand this year. I'm predicting more turnovers. I'm predicting, and the Bayou Bandits is what Blake Baker calls his defensive unit. I tried to throw out a line to see if BK would talk about his defense, and he did not bite on it. They only had 6 INTs. You need to double that, Mike, to 12. They only had 34 sacks. That needs to be in the 40s. They only had 8 fumbled recoveries, 14 takeaways. If they don't have 20-something takeaways, be very disappointed. But I'm telling you, LSU's defense is going to make you proud on the night of August 30th, and they might, in my opinion, have to carry this football team the first 2 or 3 weeks until that offensive line gets on it. But you're going to love all those guys we're talking about. Gooden's a solid 280. Pyburn's going to talk smack. We know about Dominic McKinley, Bro, Jacobian, obviously Gabriel Relaford. You know, people have been quiet on number 19. You know what that means? He's going to make a big play in this ball game. Whit Weeks and Harold Perkins. By the way, in case you were worried, that was a personal day why he missed this week on the day after the scrimmage. Whit Weeks, they've been doing load management. People forget how good Whit Weeks. Obviously, you still have to worry about the corners. I think Ashton Stamps has a propensity to give up some plays. P.J. Woodland is a handsy guy. He's going to be in there. And then safety, I think that's where you're going to see great improvement for Halsey and Tamarcus Cooley. But I don't know what their stats will be. They gave up 24 points a game, 24 3-points per game, and 374 yards per game. I will shave my head, okay, if those numbers are worse this year than last year.
Your head could be shaved for all I know anyways. I've never seen you without a hat. I think twice in my life.
Well, you've seen it more than that.
All right.
I will show my hair if they give up more than 24 points a game and 375 yards a game. Blake, if you make me do that, I'm a gotta. You know what that means. Get after that ass.
All right, I got one right here.
Defense, folks, you're going to be proud. Remember, I said that.
53449. Hey, Mike and Buddy, this is always hard to do, particularly when LSU's got all the weapons they have. But who do you predict will score the first touchdown of the season? I say Trey Green, he says. Give me yours. I was thinking about that while Buddy was talking. I'm going to go Chris Hilton.
And I want to throw out a different name that nobody's thinking about, Nick Anderson. There are so many options. Had Mike Detillier on today, and I'm going to give you some of his tidbits, but he mentioned Trey Green and Bauer Sharp. How often are you going to see 12 personnel? Bauer Sharp's going to be back in that backfield because he's got to chip and protect that edge rusher, whether it be Tyree Adams or whoever's the right tackle. But I really, really have never seen.
He has an 8-reception, 160-yard night against Oklahoma.
Who's that?
Bauer Sharp.
Well, you know, you're already getting it into. All I can tell you is I love Trey Green. And how about BK saying this week, Trey Green might be covered, but he's still going to catch the football. But I'm going to go with an outlier here and say Nick Anderson will score the first touchdown as a reception.
See, my second choice was Barry and Brown.
Yeah, Barry and Brown. I dare Clemson. I dare you, Clemson, to kick off to Barry and Brown. I dare you. Last time he played Clemson, 1, 2, 3 touchdowns. Look it up. Bowl game with Kentucky.
All right. Ryan Stellar. If LSU starts off slow this game open, I feel the narrative for Kelly is going to be unprepared, never ready, and always starting slow and not physical enough. Right or wrong? No, you're not wrong. Particularly if they come out of the blocks and have some of the first game issues that we've seen in all of the openers so far. I just think that defense, Blake Baker being in season 2 and all the athleticism amongst that group, and the speed that they have on defense, I think Buddy's right that they can be the difference while that offense gets it figured out. And when I say figured it out, I mean, we obviously know all their weapons. It's the offensive line. But look, even if the offensive line is below average week 1, they're going to get rid of the ball quick.
I hope so. By the way,
they're going to move him out. They're going to move him around.
Next week, Braylon Moore, Josh Thompson, all of those interior linemen are going to have nightmares. And I'm going to tell you who we're talking about. His name is Peter Woods. He's a first-team All-AP All-American. He's 6'3", 310 pounds. I asked Atiya if he lines up straight on the center. He goes, no, he's on the side. So he's either going to be on the right side of the center, left side of the center. Has a great propensity. Remember, they outlawed the head slap, but he uses that hand, and all of a sudden he pushes that guard or center away, and you got pressure right up the gut.
What is he basing this on? South Florida? What is he basing that on?
Who?
Atiya.
Well, he's seen Peter Woods for 2 years. I mean, the guy has been a stud. He number 11, you're going to know who number 11 is after the game. You're going to also know who number 3 is, T.J. Parker, a red edge rusher. And remember when they were in with Will Helt from Purdue, the defensive end, he wears number 13. All those guys are going to be problematic for that first night. But Peter Burns with the SEC network and all these guys are going to build up the guy you've got to block if you're going to win. Next Saturday night is number 11. And I hope that, look, I hope they hold him. I hope they double him. I hope they do whatever they can. But, Mike, you know the problem. If you get, look what Bernard Gooden's been doing. Have they been getting interior pressure on us? What he does is he takes it, all of a sudden he's running around, and then he's throwing off the back foot. You want to make sure he goes quick and gets rid of it. But Peter Woods, T.J. Parker, and then Helt from Clemson, those 3 guys are going to be problematic, and I hope LSU's got a game plan. You can max protect. You can chip with a running back, chip with a tight end. You got to give us a little time to get rid of it. And if they do, thumbs up.
Music says this is our year. And Chicago Cheetah says this is LSU's year.
I like that nickname, Chicago Cheetah.
Look, man. Look,
Chi-Town.
This is what we do. This is the summer. This is the weeks before. But there's no doubt about it. If LSU wins that game, the outlook and the national perspective and the way everybody talks about Brian Kelly, Notre Dame fans are going to be throwing up in their cornflakes. Everything is going to be different. It's just. Look, it's not everything, but it's just about everything, that game.
Well, look, we can say this, and it is opinion, but I think it will end up being a fact. This is the best football team he's fielded. This is the best defense he's fielded. This is the best wide receiving core he's fielded. Obviously, when you start talking about Jaden Daniels, it's kind of hard to parallel, but Nuss did throw 4,000 yards. Asked Mike today about that WTFINT. You know, when he throws it, he does like this. What am I doing? And he's saying, what the frick am I doing? What am I thinking? But like Brett Favre and that comparison, he's going to have some of those. But 29-12 for him last year. Cade Klubnik, 36-6. So if Nuss can just not
give me your Nussmeier interception total on the season.
I'm hoping 8 or 9. 33 touchdowns, 8 or 9 INTs, my goal for him.
I hope it's no more than 6 or 7.
Well, I hope you're right. Oh, by the way, you mentioned it too. Don't forget, had a couple of fumbles, lost 2 or 3 fumbles as well.
Yep. Ryan Stadler, I can't help but feel like LSU's administration thinks we're in the BCS era where strength of schedule matters still. The landscape of the playoffs have come down to wins and losses more than the resume. And a lot of it's money. When ESPN calls and says, we want you in a marquee game, we want you in Vegas, we want you in Orlando, we want you here, there, we'll give you 8, 9, 10 million. You know, is it even more than that now?
I don't know what the money is.
You make more than an LSU home game and you're not paying for cleanup. You're not paying for security and all that stuff.
But these schedules are done 5 and 6 years in advance too. I think people got to realize
But
that.
most of the teams that LSU's been scheduling are pretty darn consistent, being top 20 teams.
Sure.
Yep. Fire 3449, Mike, JD Fleur is 6'7". Could we see him and Trades Green in the red zone jump ball? I've looked a little bit at JD. I don't know that you see him this year. Do you see him 2 or 3 times? Maybe. I don't think he goes beyond 4 games, though.
Yeah, I think he's got an R on his helmet this year. I think they're going to redshirt JD.
You know, but knock on wood, if there's injuries. But no, you hope to redshirt him.
Yeah. You got 4 tight ends.
I tell you what, though, physically, he's gotten bigger and stronger, and he looks way different than he did this time last year. Super kid, and of course, obviously, his dad and LSU great.
But he's the 5th tight end right now.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people going back and forth. Those who believe and those who don't. 5349. Mike, is Juwan Johnson a bigger back than Harlan Berry? Yeah, he's heavier. And so the question is he absolutely the 3rd running back? Or is it a matter of time before Berry absolutely is? And is it a matter of time before Berry is number 2?
Well, I'm glad we
Caleb
brought this
Jackson,
up because the last time I did a report with you, I said that he had a little bit of an ailment on the ankle. Last time I saw the film, and then last time on that Monday, he's got his jets back. You know, they hit that wall in camp, and then you have a lag. Harlan Berry was running like he can run. Juwan Johnson, I think what I've seen, just as my eyes, is vision. If Caleb Jackson had the vision of Juwan Johnson, he'd be a star. So how much is Caleb going to get an opportunity? Caden Durham, you got to throw the football to him 4 or 5 times. He's that good as a receiver. All you got to do is put the tape in with the South Carolina game. They're getting beat 17-0, and he makes that incredible zigzag run and dives into the end zone for the touchdown. He's going to do some of that this year. But I think Harlan Berry, as you and I were talking about, we don't know how much he'll be in the mix for game 1, but Juwan Johnson is going to be in the mix, and I think he's 6 foot 210. Once again, we talked about this last time. You got to find somebody that's going to come in there and put that body in and pass protect, because they're going to be sending the kitchen sink. O'Brien's a new defensive coordinator. Clemson's going to be blitzing. A lot of it's going to be coming right up the gut as well as from the edge. That middle screen could be touchdown city if Joe calls it at the right time.
Jeffrey Maxwell, see something like LSU 31-20 with a touchdown on defense or special teams. I think everybody in this chat will take that right now.
I'll tell you what, we can tell the guys that are having a good week.
A lot of positive people. There's a reason to be positive.
Yeah.
I mean, look, this team has everything. Look, I don't feel like going into 2019 that I felt across the board as good about that team as I do this one. I mean, nobody was picking 11-1 or I mean, I'd like to know what I picked that year.
Well, they were preseason 6 in 19.
Maybe I was 10-2. I don't know.
But anyway, they were preseason number 6. And we know that Joe Burrow said at the Manning Passing Academy, we're going to score 40, 50 points. Interesting, 31-20. I don't know what it's going to be, a low-scoring game
other than
or not.
Clemson being on the schedule is sort of favorable. Okay? I mean, yeah, you got to go to Ole Miss, you got to go to Alabama, you got to go to Oklahoma. Florida's on the upswing. South Carolina's on the upswing.
Vandy on the road as well.
Yep. Texas A&M hadn't beaten LSU in Baton Rouge since '94. But, you know, you don't have Texas, you don't have Georgia on the schedule. You got just great answers at every position. The only position that we rail on is offensive line. And if that's average, this team can win it all.
I want to go back to one of the
got to stay healthy too.
Respondents that said that. And you know, he was talking about what we've seen. This is year 4. And if there are a bunch of penalties, if there are a bunch of screw-ups on special teams, if they break their pencil inside the red zone, if they don't utilize the clock, everybody talks about the 8 minutes, the last 4 minutes of the first half and the first 4 minutes of the second half. If he does like Mike says and takes the football, now it's irrelevant if Clemson wins the toss because LSU is going to be on offense first. But if they win the toss and go on defense and stop Clemson, you got a little momentum. But on the other hand, if you take the football and don't score, and then Clemson scores right before half and then gets the football again to start the second half. So all of those little interesting things. But I'm here to tell you, yes, they're going to have some penalties and they're going to have some screw-ups. But I think it'll take about a half for the offense. But that defense, you're going to love the way they come after people.
I'll say this too.
That's all I'm going to tell you. You're going to love the way they come after people.
It's year 2 of Blake Baker. Those defensive players are having fun. When they're out there jawing with each other the way they do, and Bernard Gooden's, getting after Nussmeier verbally, I so wish that stuff could be mic'd up like Hard Knocks. I'd love to hear what he's saying to Garrett Nussmeier. I mean, to me, I think they're hungry. I think they've got good camaraderie. I think they've got leadership. They're healthy. A lot of times I know Charlie Hannegriff, our buddy, is always talking about, brings it up during good years where LSU is basically non-existent on the police blotter. Other than JT Lindsay, they pretty much stayed away from it. So to me, you've got a lot of things. Everything's there to have a great, great year. But I'm like a lot of people. Show me in week 1.
Okay.
And if they do it, I think everybody in the media, including myself, and every naysayer, everybody who's of the belief that BK is never going to do anything major in Baton Rouge, I get it. I think everybody's going to be singing a different tune.
Yeah. If they're not prepared, and if all of that cluster frick comes out again in the first game, it will be a tough PR hurdle to overcome. Now, let's get back to here if they do win. You still got to beat Florida in week 3. You at home. We talked about that today, Billy Napier. If you lose 2 years in a row to Billy Napier, that's not a good sign for the LSU fan base. Then you go on the road to play at Ole Miss. Ole Miss is always appreciably tougher on the road. Then you have the open date, and the Cox come into town, and everybody knows Lenora Sellers is a big man to have to tackle. We still will wait to see if they're better on defending the run-pass option with the quarterback. And then, of course, you got A&M and Vandy in that little 3-way. And then again, another open date at Alabama. Everybody's picking Alabama to be in the playoffs. I have no idea what Alabama's going to be. Do you? And then, of course, as we know, you finish up late.
Either way, Auburn will claim a national championship.
Oh, man. Auburn. What is going on? They even tried
if I'm an Auburn fan, I am so embarrassed.
But they tried to claim 58. And so I looked at it. They were 9-0-1. They had a tie and went undefeated. LSU was 11-0. That just doesn't compute with me on how you can claim that. But you know what it is? I really think.
What about 87?
Yeah.
1987, which I think if you would say, what are some of the great teams in the last 30, 40 years that was close, was that 87 LSU team, which lost to Auburn and tied Ohio State.
Mm-hmm. No doubt.
And, of course, LSU had the earthquake game with Auburn the next year. All right, Case and Acock, Mike and Buddy, do you think Bernard Gooden could be used as a goal line option considering his size and quickness? I think Florida has used defensive tackles in the past to punch through the middle.
Well, look, in goal line, you're going to see.
He would be that type of guy just because of the way he's built if you were to do it with somebody like that.
But goal line, you're going to see Sadir Mitchell, who's lost weight and is now in the 340. You're going to see Sean Washington. Obviously, Good is going to play. Dominic McKinley's going to play. All those guys are going to play.
But he's talking about using him as a running back.
Oh, no, that ain't going to happen. Yeah. That's not going to happen.
Not when you got Caleb Jackson. You want Caleb Jackson to be that guy.
Now, I'd love to see
Caden
that.
Durham is that guy.
Yeah.
I mean, he's those legs on him are strong. Sean Carpenter, would you trade Coach O for Coach Kelly? No, I would not, but I will say this. If you wanted to give me the 5-year span of Ed Orgeron and put it on a constant loop, I'll sign up for it right now, and I think every LSU fan would. You're going to have a national championship every 5 years, but 2 or 3 years of bad, and then start over again in another magical 15-0. You take it all day, every day.
I have a problem with Coach O right now, and it comes in the form of RESPECT. He made an asinine comment a couple days ago.
Which one was it?
Arch Manning. When I see Arch Manning, he's played 2 or 3 freaking games, and he's comparing Arch Manning to Joe Burrow. Coach, keep drinking. Ridiculous.
Yeah.
We're talking about one of the greatest quarterbacks in college history, the first SEC team to go 15-0, averaging 48-point-something points a game, averaging 400 points a game. And this son of a gun on his Heisman Trophy speech actually told the nation, Coach O, you ought to get a lifetime contract, and you disrespect him by comparing Arch Manning to him. GTFO. Pathetic.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I need to go back and see that.
That was foot and mouth disease.
Is that the way he said it, though?
Yeah. He said, Arch Manning, I hadn't seen anything like this since Joe Burrow. The guy started 2 games. Arch Manning might be.
But that's not, if he said it that way, that's not saying he's better than Joe Burrow.
It was a ridiculous comparison.
But there's a lot of people making ridiculous comments about Arch Manning.
Yeah, absolutely.
Paul Feinbaum.
I know. Here's Feinbaum. But that was ridiculous, Coach O. After what that man did for you, he's the damn reason you got $17 million from LSU.
But he said since Joe Burrow.
No, it was an asinine comment.
Jeff Maxwell, Barry and Brown is the best returner in college football. All right.
I'll drink to that.
And then follow up with that. Wilk asked Mike and Buddy, who do y'all want returning punts and kicks? Barry and Brown.
It's a 3-way battle: Barry and Brown,
Aaron
Anderson, and Aaron Anderson, and don't forget about Xavier Thomas.
Yeah.
So they've got. We don't know who's going to be.
Watkins.
Jelani Watkins is going to get some action. You know, BK mentioned him the other day. I don't know where he's going to be, but LSU's got some speed. Oh, by the way, first quick man to tidbit. Grant Chadwick has solidified the punting job. I think he talked about Aaron Burrell improving. I think he might be the pooch punter. Aaron Burrell is going to kick off the holder, which was lacking last year. They had a lot of problems with snaps and holders. It's either Grant Chadwick or Colin Hurley or even Bauer Sharp. Damian Ramos, field goals and PATs. I think anything over 48 is going to be Aaron Burrell. And so special teams, Mike, special teams and tackling. Biggest questions you have in the first game, special teams. But all these returners got to be, and that man to tidbit.
I think they're going to be fine.
But here's the man to tidbit that BK mentions. They've got to flip the field. Remember Brad Wing when they punt and all of a sudden you're flipping field position. So LSU's got
after they win the toss and he takes the ball. Does he score on the first drive?
I don't know, but I sure wish he would defer with this defense.
Okay, we got to talk about Dykes, everybody, the official electrical company of TigerBait.com. No matter how big or small your electrical needs might be, Dykes is wired for success. You need a brand new 10-story office building, they can wire that. A 200,000 square foot warehouse that you need built, they can wire that. Expanding your existing commercial building, changing out a breaker, whole electrical panel, a receptacle, upgrading the old lighting in your home or office, they can wire all of that. Give them a call today at the number on your screen, 225-216-9180 for a free estimate on your project. Make sure to let them know TigerBait sent you in. Again, a Baton Rouge area owned and operated company, huge LSU fans, and the official electrical company of TigerBait.com. And what do you need to do on Sundays this home football season? Make sure you're over at Capital City Grill for one of the finest brunches in South Louisiana. And look, I eat it all the time. It's absolutely fantastic. And so we're proud to talk about Capital City Grill at 100 Lafayette Street. And again, it's from 11 to 2 on Sundays. They've got the best chicken and waffles in town and never frozen. They've got the Eggs Benedict, your typical breakfast, French toast, pancakes. They've got it all for you over at Capital City Grill. And if you just want to go there for a great lunch, club sandwiches, the burgers, and much more. And again, the best carrot cake in town. You see that dream cake on the screen. get you that to go after you've loaded up over at Capital City Grill.
Outdoor seating. You're going to love the view with the river, and the bar is outstanding. If you're waiting for a table, get on in there. Girlfriend and her daughter have been over there 3 or 4 times and enjoyed it immensely. Very consistent, Mike.
Absolutely. All right, let's get some more comments in here. Slander Pop, LSU has 7 players on the All-SEC preseason team by the coaches poll. Prefer coaches over the media poll. They got the talent. Yeah, we'll see about that. Particularly the media poll. I don't think a third of the people that were on the preseason poll will be there in December. There was something I needed to look at here earlier. Here it is. Shane Lacoste. This was a good one. Open practice to the media is not good at all. It's giving Clemson free tape. I've had this conversation with a few LSU coaches, and look, if they give us access, I'm going. But at the same time, look, give us what Saban gave us. We were out there watching him do jumping jacks. Some of the best film ever was Saban cutting up and telling dad jokes to Brady, James, and players and that kind of stuff. Show us just individual drills early on. But if it goes 11 on 11 or you realize that the media is there in the time that you gave us and you're doing something earlier or you move your practice around, to me, blow a siren or say, hey, everybody, sorry, camera's off now. That's all you got to do is tell us or give us the earlier part of practice. If you want to give us 10 to 15 minutes for us to get B-roll, give us the guys doing jumping jacks. I get it. We'll turn our cameras off, and if he lets us stay the whole time, that's fine, like he has been doing.
Well,
nobody in the media wants to purposely hurt LSU.
Yeah.
I personally edited multiple of our practice films when they've called me after the fact. But yeah, I get it. We're appreciative of what BK gives us because we've been doing it for a long time. And we know what the previous coaches have given us, but at the same time, we don't want to do anything that's going to hurt them. And if it hurts them and they realize it, then they're going to say, well, we're not giving you access anymore. So let's be smart about it.
Yeah, I think you just hit the nail on the head at the end. Everybody's got to be smart. I remember after one of the reports, we were talking about what they were doing with the Wild Tiger and whether it would be a direct snap to this running back or where Nuss was or whatever. You can't have too much information out there. But once again, let me tell you why I liked it. First of all, he's doing it for the fans. He's doing it for the media because he needs the media and he needs the fans this year. If his butthole and neck and everybody walking around tight, we got to lock it out. You got that coach paranoia. You don't see that. He's comfortable in his skin. He knows he's got a lot of talent. Now, can they coach him and get over the hump? We're going to start to find out answers 10 nights from tonight. But if he was all paranoid and said, oh, no, you can't watch anything, I would certainly be more leery about this team.
Yeah, by the way, we didn't ask for this access. When he first got the job, we were like looking at what? We get to go for 3 periods and turn our cameras off and stay the whole time? And he hasn't budged off that since he got here.
But let's go back. Most of that information that was disseminated was a couple of weeks ago. They've cut us out. We're not seeing anything. Clemson's not going to be relying on some media guy to what he said 2 weeks before the season.
I can tell you right now, the big donors that got to go in Tiger Stadium last Saturday night, those are the guys that can really do more harm, I think, than the media.
Yeah. Well, look, we had a comment.
All that info got out in 10 minutes.
Well, we had a comment, but what my point is this. When you get on game day, you might have all these stats and all that, but it happens so fast. Very seldom. We're not going to give them something that they would not be aware of that they learned. Now, they may know a lot about injuries. They may know about personnel and all that, but I think there's been a fine line. And I understand the fans not wanting too much information out there, but I think it's a tribute to BK realizing he needs the fans, he needs the media, because if there's a hiccup, some people are going to have to calm everybody down. Catastrophe syndrome, when Saban said many years ago, it is alive and well. It still is alive and well. I appreciate the access. It's unprecedented. And, we did start to temper some of our information because you want to protect. If you get that kind of access, you don't want to let it all out in the hands. Dabo is being called Richard, if you know what the nickname for Richard is with the Clemson media. So we appreciate the access. I don't think anything that we've said is going to hurt them on the night of August 30th. Do you?
Yeah. Brad David, Mike, did you see Jock's interview with Tommy Hotz? No, I haven't. I've been busy, but two great Tigers that he got those interviews with. Jock does a great job on those.
Tommy Hudson one day, Herb Tyler the next.
Yeah. Dr. John Sibley Butler. LSU has excellent players, so everyone drink some whiskey and screw your wig on tight. This season will be fabulous and exciting. I agree. Thank you for that, Dr. Sibley Butler. Stephen Miller, buddy, you don't think it's showing confidence in this team through BK giving this access? Oh, it's definitely confidence.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
If he was not confident, he wouldn't be letting us see out there. And I just think that we go back to this thing about the personality of the head coach on game day. I really am hoping that he is totally different and not all wired up and tight, because when you are tight on that sideline, a lot of times your players play tight. Look, they've got a lot of talent. One of the great things about having this kind of talent is you're going to keep people happy. You're going to play 4 or more defensive ends. You're going to play 4 or 5 more defensive tackles. You've got corners that are a handful. You've got safeties at 4. You've got 7 or 8 wide receivers. And what that does, folks, is that in the fourth quarter, when games are determined in the last 4, 5, 6 minutes, you've got fresh players because everybody's rotating. So all of that, I think, you will see during the game. And we talk about Jake Flynn and the team getting tired. I think they're going to be fresh because they've got such depth. The question is, do you put Barry Brown in the position to hurt Clemson? Do you see a sack from Jack Pyburn and Gabriel Relaford and inside pressure from Gooden? All those guys are going to get a chance. And then when you get out on the field, you want to make sure you're playing 100% because somebody's waiting to take your place. And so I think the depth is going to have a lot of impact on LSU. And yes, I'll go ahead and say it. I've got them sneaking in and winning this puppy late by a field goal.
Looking for D. Who's going to blitz the most this year, Perk or Witt? I think with what you've got on the edge, what you brought in, you're not going to need Perk to do that a whole lot. So I think it might be even, and it might even be a little bit more Witt.
Well, we talked about it today with Detillier. You know, you could always put Perkins as a spy on Cade Klubnik. And everybody knows Cade Klubnik is an excellent passer, but if you give him some lanes, he can hurt you with the run. He had 463 yards running and 7 touchdowns. Had 43 touchdowns accounted for him last year as the Clemson quarterback. We can't divulge that information on who's going to blitz the most. We don't want to hurt LSU, but I think that's a crapshoot. That's what Blake Baker. See, we can talk about personnel, but until you get,
I think they're going to bring pressure from many different areas now, particularly now they actually have some pretty salty edge rushers, and you're not, doing what they did with Perk was because they had to. You've got bodies there now that can do it, and you don't have to do it with smoke and mirrors and doing things that but you want to keep modest, and you want to bring it from all areas. And
that's the great thing about Blake Baker. Blake Baker is like a kid on Christmas Day, and he's walking in and he's got toys everywhere. And now Joe Sloan's got toys everywhere. I've never seen this kind of receiving core. We're not even talking about the running backs that can catch it. We're not talking about the tight ends that can catch it. Folks, if you don't realize the mismatch problems that Bauer Sharp and Trey'Dez Green present inside the red zone, and please, for the life, I know they're going to try it, but I'm a bitch about it ahead of time. Don't ask Trey'Dez Green to smash mouth and block somebody at the 4-yard line. Use that big body of his and use him as a receiver. You want to block and tight end, you got Bauer Sharp or Donovan Green, but it's all about when you call the right plays, and obviously you got to execute them. But I think the depth is going to get you a faster football team, and when everybody's getting a little piece of the action, we talked about it before we started all this. Jacoby and Gilroy, he might get 12 to 15 plays, but you know what? He's going to be balls to the wall on every one of those plays.
Exactly.
So,
and there's going to be a lot of guys like that.
absolutely. And here's the other thing to interject. They are not having any problems. This team is close.
Especially on defense. A lot of people who's starting, it don't matter. You've got so much depth there. We're talking about linebacker all the time. Now you're seeing Tylen Singleton come on.
Devon Keys, CJ Ross.
Yep.
Oh, by the way, look, you've got a lot of young guys.
I think Lance Guidry is going to have is going to have a nice impact on this team.
Sure, no doubt. Glad you mentioned him.
All right, everybody, do me a favor. If you're enjoying the show, and look, we have a big crowd here, please hit the like button. It helps us with the algorithm, both on Facebook or YouTube, depending on where you're watching. Look, we have a huge channel. We've been growing by leaps and bounds. We're getting close to 40,000 subscribers. Help us get there. Please subscribe. Hit the notification bell on YouTube. We got a lot coming your way this football season. Our LSU postgame show is going to be absolutely huge on Saturday nights. And Press and I will be here for those. And we're going to do everything we can to get those uncorked early as quick as possible after games in. Of course, we got to get all our content up. And we're in the locker room for interviews and stuff. But we're going to try and start our post game as early as possible for you on Saturdays. All right, let's see. Stephen Miller says, I think I'm going to ask BK Thursday night, what has he learned in his first 3 years on the job and what he plans on doing differently than the previous 3 openers.
Yeah. TJ Ribbs, once again, radio show, first one of the year. This is also unprecedented. Speaking about access, what do you think we're going to see Saturday night? We're available. We're actually getting access to the Saturday night scrimmage. Walkthrough, special teams, situational stuff. But that's why
real light.
I'm gonna wait to give you my predicted record and the score in this game. But look, once again, we will be cognizant that we're not going to say too much. But on the other hand, that fan base out there has an insatiable appetite to get every little nugget. I mean, just remember when Nuss got hurt, all of these national people, a lot of Clemson people, oh man, ACL, he's out for the year, all that other stuff. So we try to make sure that what we do is legitimatize stuff that we say. Not always going to be right, but for the majority of the right times. And it's exciting. I think that when you start talking about the positives, there are a lot of positives. I hate that we get back to the offensive line, but one of the tricks in the trade, and I'm hoping Alex Atkins is going to come over there, and it's real quick, folks. It's keeping these elbows in and holding that opponent. If you get those elbows out and you're grabbing the jersey, here comes the 10-yard penalty. They've got to teach those guys, and Alabama knows how to do it better than anybody. They hold like son of a guns and don't get called, but you're going to have to do the little small things like that. Hold and get away with it. Middle screen, when they're coming, bubble, and obviously the 3 things you have on every football game: stopping the run, running the football, and winning the turnover battle.
Absolutely. All right. Yeah, I'm sitting here thinking, man, I'm already now thinking about what pressers. When does Dabo speak next week? It's hard to believe that it's already here. I'm glad it is. All right, let's see what he got here.
I'm glad you mentioned Jelani Watkins, number 17, folks. He's the fastest guy on the LSU team. He runs 10.01 in the 100 meters. He's a little bitty guy. He's a track guy. He's about 5'10", 5'11", 162. We've seen him out at the Ponderosa catching a lot of balls. He's been a lot more involved. Where do you think they're going to try to slip him in here? Because if he gets by the way, one of the things that the TA did say today, Mike, they have a propensity to give up the deep ball last year at Clemson. And so what Mike said and what you and I said, you said this a couple weeks ago, man, that first series, Joe, whether you complete it or not, you play action and you throw that sucker 40 yards down the field, whether it's Barry and Brown on this side, Hilton on the other side, but you throw it and you throw it. And the next thing you know, all of that sudden, that safety's not that box anymore. He's kind of backing up a little bit.
Somebody's saying win the toss, take it on offense and play action pass on play 1.
I'll text you if that actually happens.
All right. Genesis of Lafayette. There it is. The new 2026 GV70. Really one of the hottest selling, and you're not going to beat it. Luxury, a small SUV, 3.99% APR for 60 months at Genesis of Lafayette. And of course, they're your premier luxury dealership. They offer the finest cars and SUVs in the region, coupled with the best service anywhere. Genesis of Lafayette has a huge inventory of new and certified pre-owned Genesis vehicles. So for a truly first-class automotive experience, it's Genesis of Lafayette, 6600 Johnson Street. And again, go to genesisoflafayette.com or call them at 877-856-2961 and tell them that TigerBait sent you. Jaron Guidry and the staff over at Genesis of Lafayette, huge LSU fans. And again, 3 years in a row, they've sold more Genesis vehicles than any other Genesis dealer in the state of Louisiana. And that's why you need to go there and see them. Stroube's, get downtown. See that cowboy ribeye on the screen? Great fish options. They've got it all for you. It's Stroube's, downtown Baton Rouge. And, of course, 107 3rd Street. One of your great 5-star dining experiences in the state of Louisiana. Reasonably priced, locally owned, all fresh ingredients, USDA prime black Angus, and 100% certified Wagyu New York strip. They got the dry-aged pork chop, the duck Louisiane, the steak Diane, redfish, lobster pasta. They've got it all. Go to Stroube's.com. You can see the entire menu. Another place with great desserts. And so make sure to let them know TigerBait sent you in at Stroube's. All right. Let's see.
All of our great sponsors. Want to give a shout out to Demco, Dixie Electric Member Co-op. They're one of the reasons I'm able to come on this show, along with Man Defined Meats and Pride Roofing. Folks, they believe in TNC, trust and communication, levelized billing. We are going to be in a hurricane season. I like it. You know, you were talking about Charlie with the police blotter and all that. I've had a weird thing about if LSU and the Baton Rouge audience doesn't have to worry about a hurricane or a tropical storm, and we've had some right at the beginning of the year. Unfortunately, we got a 20-year reunion anniversary with Katrina coming up here the day before the opening game. But if you need any of that information, don't forget about the Demco Storm Watch. They will take care of you. Shout out to David Latona and his great team. And look, we got a lot of sponsors on this thing, but we believe in them. We hope that you patronize them because they're class people and they do it the right way. And more importantly than anything in today's world, they care. And that is what you're looking for when you're talking about great sponsors and great businesses in the capital city.
This one, Rick Cloetti, LSU going to shock the world in South Carolina next weekend. I think a lot of people are feeling that way.
I'm guaranteeing the Tigers win. I am guaranteeing the Tigers win.
I know.
Now, is it going to be purple and orange or purple and gold?
Who's got the uglier Tiger, Auburn or Clemson?
Look, I will tell you this.
I don't know where they order the little outfits for mascots on the sideline to wear, but LSU's Tiger is clearly the best looking one.
Well, here, let's talk about
and
this.
Auburn's looks like he's bulimic or anorexic or both.
Everybody I've talked to says
6-month meth bender.
The Clemson fan base is very nice, but look, now they're going to address people. And 6,000 Tiger fans are going to be in that stadium, Memorial Stadium. 5,500 are up in the nosebleed. 500 are down in the lower bowl. You know there's going to be conversation.
How many LSU fans are paying the $800 to get them third party?
No, but I just can say, you know there's going to be some conversation about Death Valley Jr., and they're going to say, we had Death Valley before.
They'll see next year.
So that is going to come up, but I hear they're good people. I've got Mickey Plyler, a friend of Mike and I's for a long time, coming on tomorrow, and I'm going to ask him about tailgating and parking and all that, so we'll have an update on that. But I just hope that all of you can wait that last 10 days. There's been an up and down. People get irritable, and then you calm down. Then you get irritable, and you come down. I am quietly confident that this is going to be the best team that BK's put on the field. But until they do it, until they get over the hump, you always have that doubt. But once again, think about that defense. They are going to be the difference at the beginning of the season.
How many of you LSU fans that are watching the show, put in your comments, are of the show me variety?
Oh, I'm sure 50% or so, huh?
Yeah. I think a lot of people have gotten to the show me.
So
they feel excited about this team, but show me that you can win an opener. Until then, I'm not picking LSU in an opener.
Well, look, Mike said it last week. Okay, I am not going to ruin anybody's dream. I firmly believe if they call the right plays, if they execute in the red zone, if they have some semblance of organization with special teams, I think LSU's got enough talent to beat Clemson. But you got to start blocking number 3, blocking number 11, and blocking 13. If 11's in the backfield all night long, Joe is going to have to call some plays to temper his rush.
Stephen Miller, I don't think it'll be a shock when LSU wins and Clemson home team gets 3 points. So it's basically a pick'em game.
And they lost three consecutive games last year to SEC foes.
And Stephen Miller adds, Florida will not come into LSU and win this year.
Holy cow. Now, look, you want to see me get negative.
If you lose to Clemson, you can't be having a pity party. You need to get well on Louisiana Tech and be ready.
Yeah.
You got to come out of September with no more than 1 loss.
I agree. We said that. We both agree with that. If you lose to Clemson, you got to come out of September being 4-1. Then you've got an open date. Get the guys ready. Look, LSU is probably going to be a better football team in week 3, 4, and 5 than they are in week 1, simply because of the questions. I'll ask you the question. Let's go ahead and say it, or you want to wait to see the scrimmage. Who starts at right tackle? Who starts?
There's nothing Saturday night that I'm going to see that's going to change my mind.
Okay. Who you like at right tackle to start?
I don't know.
I like Curious Kern. Is he ready? Because he had those false start penalties.
I don't think he is.
I don't know if he's ready for game 1. And left guard, I got to be honest with you. We've seen Mubinga. We've seen DJ Chester. I'd like to see Cohen Eccles. I don't know how good he is.
But it's a matter of time for Kern and then Solomon Thomas.
Solomon Thomas
now,
probably going to be.
Solomon Thomas a guy that is late, or is it just way too late? And he's a next year guy.
So if you can just find a way to win and let the defense carry you early, then you've got a couple of weeks. Of course, you got 1 week, and then, of course, that is a must-win. Whether you win or lose, you got to beat Billy Napier and Florida week 3, and that crowd will be crazy. Oh, by the way, that weekend, Charlie Alexander gets his jersey retired. That doesn't mean number. That means jersey, and that is the gold out. So you'll have to wear your gold T-shirts to the ball game. I still think Penn State and the whiteout that they do, Mike, with 102,000 with the white is a spectacle. But it would be nice to see the stadium totally gold, and that'll be on September 13th.
All right, got one more. Baye's, get down there. Baye's Oyster Bar, 315 North Boulevard. They open at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Again, the best oysters in Baton Rouge is the former Jolie Pearl. And they're serving up the freshest farm-raised oysters from Grand Isle. No mud, no grit, just clean, delicious flavor. And if you're not into oysters, that turkey brie and bacon sandwich, I keep raving about it. I can't wait to get down there for another one. It's the best po' boy I've had in this city. And they've got a classic roast beef po' boy that's I'm telling you, they put at least 3/4 pound of beef on that thing. And they got a fully stocked and complete top-notch bourbon, whiskey, and a massive craft beer selection. So don't miss out on Baton Rouge's newest oyster spot, and make sure to let them know TigerBait sent you in. Again, Baye's Oyster Bar. All right, buddy, anything you want to add before we get out of here?
Ladies, get your honey-do lists and get it out and get it done tomorrow and Friday, because week 0, Iowa State and Kansas State, first game of the year, 11 o'clock. The other games that day leave a lot to be desired, but you still sink your teeth into the start of college football. And then can you imagine the build-up? Can you imagine what we're going to all be talking about next Wednesday? It's going to be back once again. Can LSU pull the upset? Does the spread go up or down from here? I think it's 3.5. But what do you think? What's the betting public going to put their money on?
I bet it goes down.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyway, and look, if you go into Clemson, bring those Manda products, and I'll get also from Mickey. This is a big question when we always have these guests from the state that we're going to, because people want to know drinking. Can I walk around with a beer? Can I walk? Do I have to have it in a cup and hide it and all that other stuff? And as you alluded to, the secondary market. There's going to be some LSU fans paying.
Yeah, I mean, we asked last week, and then someone looked it up, and it was what, $550 to $750 for lower bowl on StubHub. What is that number now?
Yeah,
I bet it's getting close to 1,000.
So
And I bet there's a lot of LSU fans that are starting to feel their oats a little bit and might actually pay those rates to get over there.
Be careful driving over there, and just remember, Clemson has gotten their butt kicked the last 2 opening games. Now, granted, they were on the road, got beat by Georgia 34-3, got beat by Duke 28-7. So they have a little bit of a phobia on opening games. How well are they going to? How well an oiled machine are they going to be? But they will have the.
I know LSU wants to run the ball, but you said it earlier. They can absolutely carve them up middle, and deep.
If you throw the ball to set up the run, you're going to have to run the ball. But if you throw the ball to set up the run,
you got to give Nuss some time.
You got to give Nuss some time. And the quick passing game, 2.5 seconds. If you thinking in your body clock as you're watching the game, anything over 2.5 seconds, you better make sure Nuss is doing something. And look, we hope that everybody enjoys it. None of us know the outcome. You don't know. I don't know. Nobody knows. But man, this is why we do what we do, Mike. And this is why those people out there watching are LSU fans. This is what you look for. And if they do lose this game, it's not going to be the end of the world. But I do think they need to tweak and go week 0 and put a game before these heavyweights, because you got to get over the streak. Week 0. If you had a game at week 0 to get some of the kinks out, especially on offensive line.
The problem at week 0 is that next week's non-conference is already booked.
Yeah, I know.
And what are the rules on that? There's special circumstances for you even do one.
Yeah,
I don't even know that it's possible for SEC
well,
schools.
my point of it is that high schools have a jamboree, pros have an exhibition. You're going in cold turkey in this game.
Yeah.
So, but everybody else is.
Yeah.
So.
All right, everybody, hit that like button if you enjoyed the show. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for participating. And we'll be back here next week with another one. Good night.